We have I would call him a origins of internet kid who is now a man that is dominating in many places, especially on behalf of agencies. And I will say this, this show is pro agency. I am pro agency. Okay, this show is pro agency, pro software. I know sometimes we kind of play, yeah, agencies, that's like dark side of the force. I kind of do like that illustration, really. But I am very pro agency, and I've been on the agency side many times. And this is one of the facilitators and enablers inside of this entire space for the service businesses on the internet. I am talking about the one and only and Andre Haykal. Andre, get in here. Get in here.
There he is.
This is crazy, bro.
We got to switch Andre over. We got to get Andre into the middle. There he is. Andre, this conversation's been a long time coming, brother. We are glad to have you on the show. Welcome to Ecomm Cowboy.
Bro, I just want to hang out with you guys.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
That's the vibe we're going for. We're just
Andre,
trying to hang out.
Okay, everybody needs context. You do so many things, and I feel like you've kind of built like a flywheel of sorts in what you do. Okay, so you've got ListKit, CEO at ListKit. You've got client Ascension. Okay, you've got I recently discovered RemotelyX, which seems like helping remote talent get connected to people who have agencies here and globally. Brother, just give everybody just a little origin story and just a little roundabout view of all that you do.
Only if I get a hat.
Of course. You get a hat. You get an honorary hat.
Nice.
Bro, I just want to be in studio with you guys. But this is so awesome, bro. First off, thank you for having me. The fact that this is the way we get to catch up is really, really cool. Just because, we've stayed connected over the years, and I'll just never forget some of the work we did way back in the day, and just the energy we brought to our relationship and to our calls is unforgettable, bro. So it's so cool to see what you're doing now, and to be a part of it today. So thank you, first and foremost.
Absolutely, man.
But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, I run a software company, run a coaching program, run a staffing agency, do a bunch of things, right? Been an entrepreneur since I was in my earlier years, inspired by both my dad, who is an immigrant from Lebanon, and then my grandpa as well, who I had a tweet about that like blew up. Just like my ideal, he's my role model, truly. And so, and cool fact about the staffing agency is actually talent from Lebanon specifically. So it's kind of a callback to my dad's origins, and something I'm super passionate about is just the country and the people of Lebanon. But yeah, it's kind of this flywheel, right? Because the same people who need to get leads to grow their business all of a sudden then need talent to support the growth. And that's also fueled by the coaching as a way of accelerating businesses to the point where they can grow. So yes, we're having fun, man. We're having fun.
Brother, you are, and I have so enjoyed seeing how things have developed. Of course, I enjoyed working together. For those who don't know, Andre and I have worked together before, and he got me leads. He got me plenty of leads, from what I was doing at the time in terms of marketing. Brother, tell us there has been, in terms of cold outreach, in terms of getting leads, I think there is kind of this fear that with what's coming with AI, everybody's inboxes are all going to be flooded, and using cold outreach to actually get verifiable good leads it's somehow going to dry up, and we're all going to get automated away, and the robots will just chase us off of all of our screens. And is that happening? Are we all getting automated away into oblivion, those of us who need leads in an everyday, every week way?
I don't buy it. And this is a conversation you can imagine we have quite often in a coaching program like Client Ascension, and running a software business that's built around cold email as a lead gen channel. But this is a conversation. We literally had a guest coaching call almost 2 years ago now with Dean Graziosi, who is a really big name we brought him in to client Ascension, and it was when a lot of change was happening in the industry. And he said something that I agree with, which is like change is always going to happen, and you can either choose to stay in like a fearful state and not do anything about it, or you can just choose to continue to do what works until it doesn't. And we've been doing cold email the same way we were doing cold email for Chris back in the day, the way we are now. And guess what? We're getting leads every single day. So I could either choose to be in a fearful state, worrying about what the future is going to look like, or I can just do the work that I know works and continue to grow my business. And of course, be smart about the changes and test new things and adopt the new technology. But why choose to live in a fearful state? That's not fun for anyone.
No, it's not. It doesn't work
I love
out
that.
for anyone either.
Could we
Also,
dive a little? Yep.
Yeah, I just have to call this back because Chris and I go way back. Like we really do.
We do.
And one of the coolest things was when Chris and I worked together. After we stopped working together, he told me one thing. He's like, bro, like more than anything, I want to see you succeed in business. I want to see you guys continue to grow the agency and whatever else you work on, which we've done. But more than that, I want to see you start a family, bro.
Yeah.
Like this is like a 20-year-old entrepreneur that cares about nothing other than growing the business. And I'm like, dang, okay, that stuck with me, bro. And literally got married in August last year. We have our first baby due in a little under 2 months from now. And
there we go, baby.
Bro, that's the win. That's the real win.
That's the real win.
Huge. Congratulations on that. That's
Absolutely.
massive. That's huge.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. So getting into the cold outreach, the practical and tactical of things, I got to talk to you about it. What are you seeing right now? What's working? What are people doing that is really dumb? Are you seeing any, copy that works? Are you seeing any subject line stuff? Are you seeing any sequences? We can get into the nerdiest of nerdy cold email stuff. I'm a big cold email fan. I still use it every day. So we can get right into it.
Yeah, it's the same thing as it's always been. It's just relevance, right? Like you can go into your inbox right now and we're all high-level entrepreneurs and people that are growing our business, and we're prime targets for people who are sending cold emails, right? So a lot of times I just monitor my own behavior of like, how do I open or choose which emails to actually read and respond to? And it always just comes back to like, it's not the most thought-provoking subject line or the most personalized first line or any of these things, or the Loom video that I don't have time to watch, let alone to read the first part of the email that leads into the Loom video. It's just the relevance, right? So I have problems in my business, as everyone does, and there's certain things that are top of mind for me right now. I'll give you a for instance or an example. At ListKit, one of the things that we were struggling with towards the end of last year was HubSpot, right? We have this massive CRM. We threw a bunch of data into it, and as a SaaS company, it's a lot different than an agency or a coaching program. You have so many different products, and you build more products, and so you have so many different flows and variables and labels and ways that you want your data to be structured that then trigger certain sequences. And so it was a lot. And our HubSpot was just not clean. It wasn't up to date, and it just wasn't optimized. And so I started getting emails from HubSpot experts and consultants that were like, hey, are you struggling with these same exact pain points I was feeling? We've helped software businesses just like yours to clean up their HubSpot and unlock more clarity or more deal flow, or just have a more simplified approach to deploying HubSpot in a way that is not, going to cost you an arm and a leg. And I'm like, okay, it's relevant. It's what I need right now. I'm going to give them the time of day and respond. So that's really all it comes down to. Is it's still a game of volume as well, right? How do you get yourself in front of someone that needs what you're selling? I think a lot of people know, at least up to this point, like the intent data and this signal-based data stuff is not the greatest. It's not the most reliable. It's very broad. It's hit or miss. And so if you can very clearly describe your ICP and put your offer in front of them in a way that hits on their pain points, the percentages will work to the point where cold email is still very, very cheap and easy to do. You just have to do it. And like the guys that get the best results with cold email are the ones that just have always been doing it, not the ones that are sitting there thinking of the Clays and the new AI sequencers and all the different change that's been brought upon cold email. They're just consistently doing it. So like if I had to go to a couple of things, because we were the top senders last year on Smart Lead, and that's like, to me, the coolest KPI is we just sent the most emails out of any. It's like Yeah, everyone's like, they got this result with this one small campaign, or they cracked the code with this other campaign, or they did this for a short period of time. We just sent the most emails out of anyone on the entire platform. And so, like, to me, that's the coolest KPI because we just did it the most and the most consistently. And really, what works is just like simplification of your offer and the relevance of who you're pitching to. I was actually reading a tweet from Nick Abraham, who I do a lot of work with closely as a coach in client Ascension. And he's someone that I learned from in the cold email space. From the beginning of time. He's been around forever, and we share a lot of the same thoughts. He doesn't buy into a lot of the like the hype with AI and AI changing things and having these super complex personalized workflows. He shared a cold email script that made so much sense on why it's performing better than anything else. The subject line was quick question, which you don't have to use quick question, but that one works really well still. And the email script was literally, hi, first name, I have a creator with this many followers in this specific brand space. Would love to see if he's a good fit to help promote your brand. Is that worth a conversation? Yes or no? And that
there we go.
The highest positive reply rates. It's so simple. It's one sentence. Make it easy for them to say yes or no to. But also, it's a really good offer to the right person.
Yeah.
So if you send enough of those emails to enough of the right people, you're going to make some money. It's like, I like to just simplify it down as much as possible.
That's so huge. I mean, I've been in the cold email space for quite a while, and I've done it for some folks, and they just overcomplicate it right out of the gate. They want to throw 3 paragraphs into the email, and they want to have eight sequences, and it's like, no one's reading that, man. I don't know. You're trying to throw your entire business into a singular sequence. It's just not going to work.
No, you have to test offer angles. You have to test different pain points. You have to test different target markets. I think a big problem we've had in the past as well with clients that we're just not able to get results for are the ones that are only going to work with one really specific, well-defined ICP. And it's like, I only want to work with these people and nobody else. And it's like, well, how many of those people exist? How many times can you actually email them? And is your offer even the best thing for that people, or are there other markets and opportunities for you to go out and test this with? And so you have to be open to testing everything. We have a KPI at ListKit internally where we have to launch at least one new, unique campaign every single day. And it should be an easy thing to do. It's just come up with a new target market and come up with a new offer angle. Every single day during the work week. And it ends up being 20 new campaigns launched every single month with around 1,000 or a couple thousand, depending on how successful that campaign actually ends up being, leads that get contacted. But that's a simple campaign or simple KPI that anyone in the cold email space can implement, because I'll tell you, again, the biggest problem, not just with cold email, but if we zoom out and look at the space, the agency space right now with AI, it's like they're just sitting in a fearful state instead of doing the actual work that will get them results. So just launch a new cold email campaign every day.
Andre, I think that this is a great point, especially in the background of what's happening across the agency space. So this recent report that came out of Foxwell, we had Andrew Foxwell on the show. His State of Agencies report for 2026 was that what's the number one problem for all agencies? And he's got great agencies inside of Foxwell. I mean, they are great. Okay. Yeah. Number one problem is the same problem it was last year and the problem it was before. It's lead flow. It's deal flow, baby. That's the problem. It's not AI this, it's not AI that. It is deal flow. That is the number one problem. And what I would love for you to do here is to make the case. Now, I agree with you, number one, because we've worked together before. Number two, I set the record as a salesman at the last agency I worked at. It's one of the best agencies in e-commerce. Of course, they work with other clients as well. But I set the record for sales at that agency. For everybody who was not the CEO, I set the record, and all of that outreach, it came from cold. It came from cold outreach, baby. Calls, emails, etc. So I know that works, but make the case, because some people believe that, hey, e-commerce, marketing agencies, like cold outreach does not work. It does not work. It will not work. Can you make the case for us that it does?
Bro, I mean, I built all of my businesses off of cold outreach. I mean, like, I'm sitting here as the case study, right? Like, I'm the case study. I'm right here.
That's
like,
awesome.
This is the case.
This is the case study.
Right? But no, like quite literally, I've built multiple businesses around cold email as an outreach method, not just tools or coaching for helping people to do cold email, but actually doing cold email to grow those businesses. And it's always the first outreach method we'll start with. When we started ListKit, we used cold email to get to our first 100K and MRR. When we started our staffing agency, we ran cold email campaigns to do talent placements. When we started Client Ascension, we did cold email campaigns to people that followed us on Twitter, because that was more of like a warm campaign, but same thing, right? And so like cold email just works. It always has. And we have clients that pay us every single month to either do cold email for them or to purchase our software that they can then use to do their own cold email, or to learn from us on how to do cold email and even build their own cold email businesses around this idea. And that's actually probably like the coolest thing, is not just our businesses, but how many cold email agencies are out there that are wildly successful, a lot more successful than most people get to in the agency space, that learned from us and applied their the concept to their own agency. I was just on a call with one of our highest successful students, and he's somewhere in Spanish speaking country. I think either Mexico or Spain, I forget. And he's running a cold email agency, and their unique selling point is they write cold emails in Spanish, and it crushes. So he found and tapped into this completely new, untouched market, and he was able to grow to like 38,000 euros just in March. I don't know euros to USD, but I think it's more in USD. But he grew to 38K euros just selling cold email into Spanish-speaking markets. Like, how crazy is that?
Yeah, it is crazy.
So much opportunity. But the opportunity is because cold email works. Otherwise, people wouldn't be paying for it.
Colin, I think people need to get some Spanish speakers, and they need to get some other language capabilities, and then they need to start outreaching internationally. I mean, this to me is a great proof case. It's a great point.
Well, I think a huge point that you made was cold email works, or people wouldn't be paying for it. I think a massive thing that you could pull from this, if you're an e-commerce owner, if you're trying to get into retail businesses, you're trying to get into doors, you need to do cold email. You need to start banging on doors. You need to start hitting them. You need to start doing campaigns constantly, because they're not going to just immediately say, "Oh, perfect. One email. Thank you. I'd love to work with you."
Yeah.
Perfect. You're going to have to hit them hard. And this is a great use case for cold email for e-commerce. It's so powerful.
And it doesn't always have to be this same approach of like mass blasting cold email, right? You can use cold email in your everyday life. I was watching a podcast on Founders Podcast with David Senra, and he was interviewing a guy named Kareem, who's the CEO of Ramp, right? They're a multi-billion-dollar finance company. And I thought it was really cool because the CEO of Ramp is from Lebanon. He left Lebanon to come to the US to learn basically like coding and computer-based stuff. And then he essentially got stuck here because the war in Lebanon started. So he's like, well, I'm here. Let me just build this company. And he said he used cold email to grow it. So I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I should definitely connect with this guy. And what are my chances of connecting with a guy that's the CEO of I think it's a $32 billion valuation company? It's very little. If I send him a DM on Twitter, or if I just tried to connect with him in any other way, very small likelihood. I sent him a cold email that was personalized. I wrote it myself as I'm listening to the podcast, and I got a response the next day. And now we're going back and forth to do something collaborative with Ramp, either to place Lebanese talent in their business, to help them with their cold email efforts through what we do at ListKit. And it's like, dude, I just sent one cold email, and that could have changed everything for me. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I love it.
This needs to be clipped. This needs to be clipped, and everybody needs to see it. This is such a good example. Go, bro.
You are like a bias for action personified in a person. If you just have the power of cold email, this is so awesome. This is exactly the opposite of so many entrepreneurs get stuck in this trap of, I got to analyze everything. I don't know what to do. Just send more cold emails. Just do more things and get more data back to you. This is so awesome. I'm so glad that you got in front of him. He's a beast, and that's a beast of a company.
Hey, thank you guys. Yeah, it's funny because this is what I coach people on every single day in Client Ascension. And it's the same thing, right? We've ran this coaching program for 4 years. We've produced some amazing case studies and students that have gone on to build businesses bigger than even ours. But the ones that struggle are it's the same thing. They just don't take action. They sit there and they think, they contemplate, and enough time goes by to the point where they give up or the opportunity passed. While others just have the bias for action, and it's not pretty. It doesn't look perfect, but it just works. And so that's kind of how I've learned to default more into this, even myself, because it's something I struggled with early on. So I'm a perfectionist. I have OCD about every little thing being perfect, but that's just not reality. So,
Andre, we appreciate you making the time and joining us. Before you go, I want you to do one thing, because I think there is a great employment displacement coming. I do think it's coming. I mean, we see it happening. I know there's going to be more jobs that there will be more jobs created. I know that, but I am concerned, especially for marketers who are somewhere in the middle of the organization or toward the bottom. They may be 20, they may be 22 and just got out of college, or they may be 32 and they got stuck somewhere in the middle of the organization. They're not leading a department yet, etc. What I would love is for you to make the case for why they should step out now and start taking the skills that they have and just becoming their own little mini agency. Start as a freelancer and become an agency. Take your skills, take them to the open market instead of relying on, hey, I'll just always have this job forever. I know it can be scary because marketers aren't salesmen. They are not the same. And there's a reason why salesmen make so much money and marketers do not. But what I'd like for you to do is to make the case why it's worthwhile to step out and get yourself out there and start getting your skills on the open market.
Yeah, I think there's definitely change coming and already happening, number one. And so it's the inevitable. And anytime there's an inevitable, you might as well get ahead of it now rather than be reactive, be proactive. So being smart about that. But then like the opportunity as well, like even if we weren't in this situation, why would you stay in a consistent paying job rather than take your skill sets that you're applying to that job, package it up, productize it, systemize it into an agency offer that you can then go and do instead of just for one company, 10 companies with all the other benefits that come from having a business and being a business owner, right? I mean, there's so many benefits that we could sit here and talk about for an entire episode. So it's not even just about the downside of, look, you probably will lose your job or be displaced into another job that you might not be best suited for, or might be lower paying or less ideal. And so that's definitely a point. But what about the point of the upside? What about the opportunity that AI is now creating for you to take the same thing that you're doing, the skill sets, the experience, the leverage at that one company and apply it to 10? And if that means, filling the gap with learning sales, like there's enough resources and opportunities for you to go out and do that, or to find a business partner that can do that for you. That's what I've done with my business partner, Dan. I don't go on sales calls. He does the sales calls and he runs the sales team. I'm more of the ideas guy and the people guy and the ops guy. And so there's so many different ways you can do it. But why bottleneck yourself? And one thing I heard years ago when I was just getting into entrepreneurship that I thought was really cool was Naval's idea of the gig economy, saying how everyone is eventually just going to become an entrepreneur. And like that was 6 years ago or 7 years ago when he was floating this idea. And it just made so much sense to me now. But like, I can't imagine this idea doesn't connect and internalize with everyone else now, because we're seeing it. But I saw that 6-7 years ago, and I said the same thing to myself. Why would I go do this skill set that's super valuable to a lot of people just for one person or for one company? That doesn't make any sense. There's no leverage created there. And so I went and created leverage and did it through multiple businesses, and will continue to do so. and it's very rewarding. It's very fun. I get to do stuff like this, not just be on podcasts or talk shows, but just to connect with really cool people like yourself. And so I couldn't recommend it more.
Well, man, we appreciate you for making the time and coming. We want Client Ascension to come to Austin. I'm just putting it out there. I know I've said it many times. I'm just saying it again. You know, we'll set up and live stream from Client Ascension when they come. And brother, we look forward to having you back. Everybody should go, hey, ListKit.io. Go find Client Ascension, all of the things. We appreciate you, brother.
Hey, thank you guys so much. God bless. Thanks for having me. Peace.